Does intermittent fasting work for everyone? Stay tuned till the end of this video because I'll be showing you why intermittent fasting works. Hello everyone, my name is Neyfi Del Rosario and I am a holistic nutritionist and best-selling author here in New York City. And my mission is to inspire you to become the healthiest version of yourself using the power of nutrition and keto. And in this channel, I discuss everything about exercise, nutrition, and fitness so you can melt that fat off. And if you're into that, please consider subscribing. Alright, let's get started. I myself tried intermittent fasting for about a year, and I have to say it worked for me, but doesn't work for everyone. And I am here to tell you what is intermittent fasting and how it works. Intermittent fasting essentially means you're skipping a meal either in the morning or in the night. So my first experience with intermittent fasting was that my last meal would end at 3 and then my first meal would be at 10 in the morning. And that was my first time I was intermittent fasting because I didn't eat in the night. And when I really understood what it was, I started skipping my breakfast. You're most likely to skip your breakfast and your first meal will be at noon and then your last meal will be at 7 p.m. and you will have at least 16 hours without food. Or your first meal could be at 2 p.m. and your last meal would be at 7 or 6 and you have at least 18 hours without food. I personally did one meal a day, which is a type of intermittent fasting. I would fast for 20 hours and then within the 4 hours I would eat one meal that was huge and I'll give myself an hour to eat it. And sometimes I'll have a 22-hour fast, sometimes I'll have a 26-hour fast. And I went as crazy, having 72 hours without food. And it did work for me, but it was not optimal because I was trying to be as muscular and as athletic as possible. And when you don't eat food, that is not the best way for you to stay lean. And I'm gonna explain you why. But you might be wondering, why does intermittent fasting work? And I am here to explain why. So let's say you're considering starting intermittent fasting. You already know what your maintenance calories are, and it's 1500. And this is what you eat to maintain your weight. And you're like, oh, I want to intermittent fast and I want to lose weight. So let's say you want to skip breakfast, and you normally eat a breakfast at 8 a.m., at noon, and at 7 p.m., and you eat a total of 1500 calories to maintain your weight. Now, let's say you skip breakfast and you eat at 12 and then you eat at 7 p.m. and you only eat 1,000 calories. That means that you are in a 500 calorie deficit. And because you are in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight. And that is the reason why intermittent fasting works. It's not really because you have autophagy or that because you trick your body to use fat for fuel. You're basically skipping a meal and you're skipping on 500 calories every single day. You're not eating between 7 and 8 a.m. and you're only taking 1,000 calories, making you have a 500 calorie deficit. I will also want to point out that some people don't lose weight with intermittent fasting because they overcompensate on these two meals and they would eat 1,000 calories on each meal because they think, oh, I'm not gonna eat breakfast, and they end up eating way too much food and cause them to gain weight because they'll be in a surplus. And that is really difficult to eat those big meals like that. But some people do because I have done it and I have gained weight in intermittent fasting. So does it work? Yes, but it doesn't work because you think it's because of autophagy or because you are eating yourself. It works because you're just not eating calories. So as you can see, you can lose weight with intermittent fasting by just achieving a calorie deficit. But sometimes that is not sustainable for some people, and they'll end up more hungry than how they started because people take the opportunity, oh, I'm not eating breakfast, so I'm gonna eat all of the junk food and I'm gonna eat all of the low quality foods at 12 and at night and I'll be fine. And that is not true because some people will gain weight using intermittent fasting. They'll cause a habit of eating a ton of food and binging food and then fasting and then binging and then fasting, and that is not a good thing. So before you start thinking about intermittent fasting, I want you to find out what is your maintenance calories. The best way that you can do is eat a little bit less in each meal. Instead of having a 400 calorie meal, why don't you have a 250 calorie meal whenever you eat, or just eat a little bit less and see how you do. I understand intermittent fasting would be a very appealing option for many of you because you're like, oh, I just don't eat in the morning and then I can eat whatever I want. If you eat more calories than you burn, you still will gain weight. It is good for losing weight. I don't believe it's a long-term approach. Yes, I did intermittent fasting for about a year. I wanted to gain muscle, and I tried as hard as I could, but I was not eating enough food, and my workouts were feeling really, really sluggish because I was not eating around my workout. I would eat. Let's say I came from college at 1 p.m. and I would eat around 1, and then I'll go to the gym at 5, and then I'll go eat at 7, and then that's it. I don't eat around my workout, and I was not eating enough protein, so I became too skinny. So I was on the opposite of spectrum from where I was. So if you're trying to build muscle or you're trying to just look better, I'd rather you find out how many calories you need and just eat 200 calories less. So if you want to find out how many calories you exactly need, I have a calculator in my website that will give you a rough estimate of how many calories you need using your height, your weight, and your age. And you can use this calculator as a guideline to start, and then you can eat just a little bit less than the number. And you can lose weight safely instead of just eating and fasting, which can put you at a very, very high deficit, and it can cause you to binge, and it can cause you to have hunger. If you are a person that doesn't eat low calorie dense food like spinach and broccoli and things that will fill you up, and you just eat junk food, it will be very hard for you to sustain intermittent fasting. You need to first find your calories, and then you need to adopt a healthy lifestyle using nutrient dense foods like spinach and watercress and cabbage and things that has low calories like fruits, and finding out which are the foods that work for you first. And then once you start losing weight by eating the same amount of meals that you were eating, then you can think about, okay, I can lose weight this way. I can make it better by eating less. Or, and if you really want to know what are the best exercises to lose weight without intermittent fasting, without any fat diet, I want you to check out this video that I made, and I want you to click in the middle of the screen right now. I love every single one of you.